It started with a headline buried deep in a financial column. Most people missed it, but the few who paid attention felt the tremor instantly. One of the world's top investors had just placed a $2.2 billion bet. Not a hedge, not a portfolio rebalance. A bet. Bold, targeted, deliberate. The kind of move that only someone with both conviction and an inside track would dare to make. Now, this isn't just any investor. We're talking about a name that sends shockwaves through global markets with a single move. The kind of figure other billionaires watch for cues. A legend of timing, patience, and precision. And when someone like that moves billions in silence while the rest of the world sleeps, you can be sure of one thing. Something big is coming. So what's this bet all about? What do they see that most of the market didn't? Let's break it down. It wasn't a flashy tech IPO. It wasn't some overhyped AI startup. And it definitely wasn't a meme stock being pumped on social media. This was something quieter, deeper, tied to the very structure of how wealth moves across the globe. This $2.2 billion was funneled into a sector most average investors overlook. Infrastructure tied to digital transformation. But not just any infrastructure. This investment focused on three pillars: data, energy, and security. Let's talk data first. The world is drowning in data. By 2025, we're expected to hit over 180 zettabytes created annually. That's not just Google searches and TikToks. It's medical records, AI training data, satellite imagery, financial transactions. And as the value of data grows, so does the need to store it, protect it, and, most importantly, monetize it. This investor's bet on a company developing advanced edge data centers. Think of them as ultra-efficient, hyper-secure storage nodes placed closer to where data is actually used, reducing latency, saving power, and unlocking speed for the future of AI, 5G, and autonomous tech. Now, combine that with energy. Because here's the catch. All this data, it needs power. And not just any power. It needs scalable, clean, always-on energy. That's where the second part of the bet lies. Massive expansion in next-gen energy grids. This isn't about windmills or panels anymore. It's about the fusion of software and electricity, smart grids, decentralized networks, and predictive energy flows powered by machine learning. This investor put big money into a company designing exactly that. A system where homes, businesses, cars, even factories can share and balance power dynamically. Imagine charging your car during off-peak hours automatically. Or a hospital never losing electricity during an outage because the grid self-heals. That's where the money's going. And finally, security. Because in this digital future, where everything is connected and online, security isn't optional. It's foundational. Hacks are no longer about stealing passwords. They're about shutting down pipelines, manipulating markets, or even collapsing governments. That's why this investor's final pillar is cyber defense. Not just antivirus or firewalls, but full-stack threat prevention rooted in quantum encryption and behavioral AI. The kind of tech that predicts and blocks threats before they happen. The kind that governments and megacorporations alike are now racing to adopt. This $2.2 billion isn't about short-term profits. It's about controlling the infrastructure of the future, the highways where digital wealth, energy, and intelligence will flow. But here's what makes it even more fascinating. This move wasn't publicized with a press release. It wasn't broadcast with media fanfare. It was done quietly, through holding companies' private placements and layered investments that only financial sleuths picked up on. That's the thing with the world's top investors. They don't wait for the headlines. They create them. Weeks, sometimes months in advance. And by the time the average investor hears the news, the gains have already begun. Let's zoom out for a second. Every time there's been a major technological leap, whether it was the railroad boom, the dot-com explosion, or the rise of mobile, there were a few who saw it early and positioned accordingly. Not just in obvious plays, but in the infrastructure beneath them. Think back to the gold rush. It wasn't just the miners who got rich, it was the ones who sold the picks and shovels. This $2.2 billion bet? It's a modern pick-and-shovel play for the next digital gold rush. The investor behind it understands a fundamental truth. Wealth doesn't just follow innovation. It follows infrastructure, the platforms, pipelines, and protocols that make the innovation usable, scalable, and secure. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Some analysts believe this move is part of a larger strategy, a quiet repositioning of capital away from traditional finance and into tech-aligned, real-world infrastructure. Not just for growth, but for protection. Why? Because the global financial system is changing. Inflation remains sticky. Currencies are fluctuating. Geopolitical tensions are rising. And in uncertain times, money flows towards certainty, toward assets that serve real needs and offer long-term utility. That's what this bet represents. It's not reactive, it's predictive. It's saying, in 5 years, when AI is mainstream, when crypto is native, when automation runs everything, these are the rails it will run on. And that opens a big question for you and me. Are we watching from the sidelines, or are we riding the same wave? Most people chase trends. Smart investors follow signals. And this $2.2 billion signal is flashing bright. So how can everyday investors use this information? Start by understanding the layers. Don't just look at the latest app or viral tech. Look beneath it. What powers it? What connects it? What protects it? That's where the leverage lives. Let's use AI as an example. Sure, you could invest in the latest AI tool. But smart money? It's going into GPU supply chains, semiconductor manufacturing, and data infrastructure, because every AI model needs that. And as AI demand rises, so will the value of those core assets. Or crypto. Don't just think about coins. Think about the wallets, exchanges, layer 2 protocols, or tokenization infrastructure. That's where usage is quietly booming, because institutions are coming in not to speculate, but to build. And then there's energy. We all see the push toward green tech, but few people realize how much of that is still unoptimized. The world isn't just going electric, it's going smart electric. And the companies building smart grid systems, predictive battery storage, and real-time distribution tech, they're sitting on tomorrow's wealth engines. The same goes for security. It's not sexy, but it's critical. And when the next major cyber attack hits, and it will, the companies already embedded in government contracts or essential infrastructure will surge. Not for hype, for necessity. That's the game this investor is playing. And that's the lens we should all be using. This isn't about gambling on what might happen. It's about identifying what's already happening, but hasn't been fully priced in yet. Now let's talk psychology. Because when an investor puts $2.2 billion into something, it's not just about opportunity. It's about conviction. The kind of move says, I believe in this so much, I'm willing to bet generational wealth on it. And in a world flooded with noise, tweets, hot takes, meme trades, conviction is gold. That's why this story matters. It's a reminder that while everyone's chasing the next shiny object, true wealth is built quietly, strategically, relentlessly. So if you've been waiting for a sign, for a signal, for a moment to move, it's here. You don't need $2.2 billion to play the same game. But you do need clarity, research, and a willingness to act before the crowd. Watch what the smartest money is doing. Then ask yourself, am I positioned for the future they see? Because in the end, it's not about following headlines. It's about following the money. And right now, $2.2 billion just pointed in a very specific direction. The only question is, are you watching or are you acting? The choice, as always, is yours.